Hello everyone, it's your Community Connection Realtor Anne-Abel out of the AA Sold team out of Max Broock Clarkston. Today we're here with James and Leah. Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
One thing I love about Waterford is even if you don't directly know somebody, you're really not too far from being connected. We all went to the same high school, I found out this morning.
Kettering Captains.
Yes. And James is married to my high school cheerleading coach. She was a great person, an important figure in my life.
Yeah.
So it's a small world.
It is a very small world. You definitely surprised me this morning by saying that. How do you know Ginger?
Yes.
So she's great.
She's a lovely lady. I recently saw you guys in the Memorial Day Parade. How was that for you?
It was great. Every year we try to do it. The last 2 years was COVID. Unfortunately, we couldn't get out there. But, we're all about community, right? Mm-hmm. And we support the community. My son's in the Marine Corps in Washington, D.C. Obviously, that day is to remember, the fallen. But we get out there every year. We have a great time. We team up with the Drayton Plains Nature Center, and we kind of get a float together. And this year, no candy. Sorry, kids. Wasn't my rule. But we gave a lot of, handouts and giveaways away. And it's just a good way to say thank you to the community. They're great to us in our office and really support our efforts. So we look forward to it every year.
Yeah, it was as somebody in attendance of the parade, it was great to see you and great for us all to come together and remember the people who've given their life for our country.
Absolutely. My son actually was able to fly out from D.C. and join us in his full dress blues. Mm-hmm. So it was great. He was out there with us, and it was just a good time. Great weather. That always helps. Mm-hmm. And just enjoyed it. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, we thank your son for his service, too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about the history of your company. Have you always been in insurance?
It's funny you mentioned that. No, I've always kind of been in sales. Mm-hmm. The majority of my sales career really stemmed from I was a corporate account executive at Verizon Wireless Corporate for years. And actually got in at a lucky time when I was very young. It was more like phones were more of a luxury than everyone had 2 or 3 of them. Mm-hmm. So wore that sales hat for years and then kind of moved on to a director of sales at a merchandising company, traveled quite a bit. Traveling was nice, but, I had a family and it was a little rough on the home life. So I'm a big fan of Waterford, born and raised, and I said, how can I serve the community and make a living? And, I thought about insurance. And so I took the classes online and started at Allstate in Waterford. Mm-hmm. I worked for an agent, Ian Henson, over off Walton. And really, I just grew. He taught me a lot of great things about the business, the ins and outs, and basically just built up my referral network, and people would call me and, we would look out for, their best interests and rate policies. And then I worked my way up into sales management, where I was in charge of like 5 sales reps, hit our goals, quotas, things like that. And then one day it hit me and I said, why am I not doing this for myself?
Right.
Yeah. So, like anything in life, you have to take a little bit of risk. Mm-hmm. It was a big risk. Ginger and I just kind of got together and we were dating, and I approached her and I said, honey, if you trust me, I think I can do this. But you might have to carry the weight for a minute. Mm-hmm. And she, of course, said, absolutely move forward. So I worked out of my home, for the first year. I wanted to be an independent agent, a broker, because I understood in Michigan, the laws and the PIP laws and the cost of auto insurance in Michigan is so expensive that I didn't want to be one-dimensional. Allstate's a great company, but at the end of the day, you and I could be friends, and I say, the rate goes up $700 a year, and see you later, right?
Yeah.
So in my world, we have, 7, 8 carriers that we can kind of shop you around, keep you happy, and, so we're a little bit more versatile. And we do home auto business, we do all that stuff. But basically, we've been open about 5 years now. We're mostly referral. Again, the community's been absolutely wonderful, very supportive. So we're very thankful for that. And we try to give back to the community. We sponsor a lot of events and sports teams and try to get our face out there like the parade. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, people see people supporting the community and they want to support that business, and we understand that. And year 5 we have 7 employees, a couple thousand clients, and we're just taking off. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
And I know you touched on it briefly, but what are the benefits of an independent insurance agent?
I think the biggest benefit is the marketplace, right? So picture in the real estate world, you've got Max Brooks, or you got Realtor One, or We have kind of like all of them, right? So we have, not all of them, but we have a good 6 or 7. So we try to tailor and customize insurance coverage for our clients based on their needs. And sometimes the cost goes up, sometimes it goes down, sometimes it changes. So we have the ability to shop the customer around. So our retention rate, I'm very proud to say, is like 92%. We don't lose too many clients, and it's because we have the versatility of having those carriers and shopping their needs around. But a lot of people say, how's the insurance business going? And it's going well, but we like to portray ourselves as not just salespeople, but really insurance is in place to protect your assets, right? Protect all of the things you've worked your life for. So it's important to us. We take it very serious. We have a great service team, customer support staff. I'm big with service because at the end of the day, insurance is something that we hope you don't need, but if you do, we're going to prove to you why we're a good agency and why you should believe in us. So
absolutely,
yeah.
Your passion for it really comes through. It's really
it does.
pleasure talking to you about it. Honestly, you get me excited. I might want to sell insurance by the time we're done.
Honestly, what's great about it is helping people, right? I like to help people and not just save them money. There was a tornado last summer in White Lake, and I had 4 clients that were directly impacted. No one was hurt, thank goodness. But down power lines, trees on houses, it was a mess. I've never been in like a tornado situation. I've seen fires, flood, I've seen it all. Never seen tornadoes, the impact. So they all called me, 4 of them, pretty frantic. James, I got trees on my roof and I need help. And I said, I'll be out there first thing in the morning. So I called a tree service. We got out there at about 8 o'clock in the morning. We got all the trees off our clients' homes, and even neighbors came up to us and said, well, who are you? I said, well, I'm our agent. And they were a little surprised, going, what are you doing out here? But again, it comes with the passion of you got to show up when people need you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're only as good as, showing up when they need you. So I'm a big fan of really getting my hands involved. I'm not just the guy behind the phone.
Yeah, I'm sure they're glad to have you when they need you.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that really portrays well with our whole referral system. Call James. You got to call James. You got to call Leah, and that really helps. But at the end of the day, it's really about helping people. That's really what it's about. So. And
that obviously resonates with me. I love that.
Yeah.
You spoke about rates and the benefits of being an independent agent. How often should people be looking at these things? Is it a yearly?
That's a good question. Rates, unfortunately, in Michigan, they don't go up, they don't go down, they go up. I liken it to almost like your cable and internet deals, right? You get them every year, 2 years, and then all of a sudden they go away, and you're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
What's going on? So I would say at least every couple of years.
Okay.
That's important. And things change within the household, right? Maybe you have a child. Maybe you have your mother-in-law moves in with you. Maybe you bought a boat. Maybe, there's a lot of demographics and things that change within those years that, constitute a phone call. And one thing we're really good at is our renewal process. So 45 days before your renewal, we see what it looks like. We know if it's going up or down. So Alicia, she's our retention specialist. She's wonderful. She gets ahead of it. She calls the client, says, we know about it. We're going to take a look at it. Let's do a review. And literally about 20, 30 minutes of the client's time, we'll do a review with them, see if anything changes in the household. Obviously if the rate goes up, we'll shop it, but we're very proactive, not reactive. And I think clients really like that.
Yeah, that sounds great. It sounds like you're working for your client in the background
Absolutely.
Before they even know they need you to.
Right. That's the goal. Get out ahead of it and, make them feel okay about it. So
awesome. How do you decide the balance between premiums and deductibles? I know that insurance, there's a sweet spot there. How do you help people navigate that?
It's a case by case scenario, so I would tell you the contractor client that comes in and I write their contractor's insurance and their home and auto and their personal lines, I'm going to tell them to have a higher deductible on their home because at the end of the day, if they have a $2,000 repair, they're going to make it. They have the resources to do that. So the higher the deductible, the lower the premium, right?
Yeah.
So then we'll take the retired client that is on a fixed income. If any little thing happens, they're on a fixed income, so they can't necessarily cover that large expense. So I like to advise them to probably keep a more lower deductible, right? But the big thing is like with homeowners insurance, you really want to look at it as like, you really don't want to make a claim unless it's really catastrophic.
Okay.
Because those claims follow you. So as you shop for insurance over the years, they'll see that $700 claim and surcharge you. So in the end, you're not really benefiting from a small deductible.
Got it. Okay.
So, we personally on my house, I keep it kind of high, and that's just my opinion. And that's because I want to keep the premiums down. And if there's a small expense, I'll say, don't make the claim. And some people react to that. They say, well, wait a minute, I'm paying for insurance. Why wouldn't I make a claim? And it's my job or her job or our job to advise you to say, listen, this small claim is going to follow you for several years. You want to use this for a catastrophic situation, right?
Yeah.
And I think some agents out there, not to badmouth, but we run what's called a clue report. So when we quote your home, we can see any claims, right? And they surcharge based upon those claims. There's a lot of claims that we see that are zero paid claims, and we go, oh, and it really frustrates me. And what that means is the client called the agent and said, I got some shingles missing. I want to make a claim. And the agent goes, yeah, call the 800 number. And then they find out it's a $700 repair. They don't want to make the claim. They retract it, but that zero paid claim still surcharges the client.
Got it. So it's still following you around, affecting your rates.
So I always say, call me first. Let's get an estimate. Let's see what we're looking at to avoid that scenario. So it's really important. We see it a lot.
Yeah.
So
that's really helpful. I don't think I would have known that. Right.
There's a lot of
There's times
things.
to make claims and there's times to not make claims.
Exactly. And just like in your world, there's nuances that that I don't. But another good example is roadside assistance. A lot of clients have roadside. It's a great benefit. Most of the carriers have roadside and they offer it. The downside is some carriers, if you have multiple towing claims, will surcharge you.
Got it. So it's included in but it's not really there.
But it is what it is. And so my suggestion to clients sometimes is saying, especially if you have an older car that's susceptible to breaking down, I typically say, hey, listen, go get a AAA roadside membership.
Yes.
The great membership. It's $100 a year. You can make as many claims as you want. Guess what?
It doesn't affect anything.
It doesn't affect you. So
Smart.
There's little things that, a good agent will tell you those things and educate you a little bit. And so, yeah.
Okay, and I feel like you've touched on them. I was wondering, what are the important factors when choosing a right agent? But honestly, someone like James, quite frankly.
Well, I think it's someone that cares and someone that wants to build a relationship with you, a long-term relationship. So I don't just want you as a client. I want your son when he turns 22 as a client, and his son, and on and on and on, right? So the idea is that you treat them like you want to be treated. A lot of people, unfortunately, don't find a lot of value in agents. And it bothers me, just like in your world, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
You experience that as a realtor. The reality is this. I've had non-clients call me that are friends going, James, I bought a policy online. I got to call the call center, but I really don't know what to do. Can you help me? Mm-hmm. And of course I help them, right? Mm-hmm. Because they're friends. And I'll advise them, do this, handle it this way, call them, say this, do that. Mm-hmm. And eventually they come on board. Mm-hmm. But that's the value of an agent. You and I have a relationship, right? If something happens, I'm going to take care of you like family. And that's what I do for all my clients. If you have an 800 number, good luck with the call center.
Right.
Good luck with navigating that claim. It's a funny story real quick. Her brother burnt his house down on accident, right? He owned his home for 3 days? 3 days.
Yes.
I wrote the policy. I wrote it well. It was his dream home in Waterford Hill. Mm-hmm. He was still in his old home, contingent on that home selling, but he bought the new home. Mm-hmm. So the first time Ginger and I wanted to take a vacation since I opened this business, she's dragging me, come on, we're going, leave your laptop, you need a break.
Shut off, disconnect, James.
Disconnect. So, and Johnny happens to be one of my best friends. And so I wrote the policy, I head to Myrtle Beach, we have this condo, and the second night, 2:00 in the morning, my phone rings. And usually in my world, that's not good, and I give every client my cell number. On my card, everyone has my number. And in fact, Ginger calls me Dr. Bejin because I take calls whenever.
That's true.
But anyway, Johnny's calling me. He's frantic, and I can barely understand what he's saying. Honestly, he's like, "Oh, James, Johnny, what's the matter? Calm down." He's like, "I'm in the middle of my yard and my house is burning down."
Oh my goodness!
And I'm going, talk about wake up real fast, right? So I said, "Okay." And what's interesting in knowing what we do, and this sounds terrible, but it's the truth. So as the house is burning down, I said, "Johnny, relax. There's no one in the house. We can replace homes. We can't replace people.
It's
right?
stuck. Mm-hmm.
I'll come home early. We'll take care of this." But I said, within 5 minutes, someone is going to approach you with a contract in their hand wanting to do your fire mitigation.
Right.
And what happens is, I won't name names, but certain departments call their people as the house is burning down. Your worst day of your life.
You're emotional.
You're emotional,
not thinking
and you
clearly.
got a contract in your face. I said, Johnny, when that happens, call me back in 5 minutes.
Right.
He goes, what? I go, trust me. Calls me back. Gets on the phone. I said, sir, we'll get back to you, but this is not the time to approach Mr. Stevenson right now. So long story short, the house was just about gone. I flew home, walked up the stairs of the home, just about like came to tears because thinking his family, if they were in there, it was gone.
Yeah.
But the best part of my job is that I calmed him down. I put him in a new home, similar size, until the house was rebuilt. And Leo will tell you no, his house is gorgeous.
Right, he has a brand new
It's like a
house.
hotel.
It's a brand new house.
Yeah.
So that's what drives me. That's what makes me feel good, is that I can put people from pre-loss condition back into their home. You know. So anyway, long story. Sorry.
No, I love that story. Don't
It's,
have to be sorry at all.
yeah.
That's great. It has to,
But that's why you need an agent, because literally I held his hand through the process. I just did my job. I don't need a pat on the back. But there's so many variables. Like, for example, when you have a mortgage on the home, right? So they don't just write you a check, fix the house. Maybe you have a gambling problem. Maybe you have,
right.
they two-party it to the mortgage company. So the mortgage company sends an inspector out in stages to make sure the home's being rebuilt and you're not blowing the money.
Wow.
So it's tricky to walk you through, but that's why you need an agent.
Absolutely. Okay. What are common myths or mistakes in insurance coverages or claims? I know we talked about a few with don't go making a claim for every
Right.
nickel and
Right.
dime thing.
I think the big thing is, that really drives me crazy, is a lot of people, and I see it on Facebook here and there or whatever, insurance is a scam. It's this, it's that, it's ridiculous. Why am I paying for something I'm not using? Well, the reality is this. It comes at a time where we hope you don't need it, but if you do, you're going to see the benefit. Obviously, Johnny saw the benefit. It's hard to sell because it's not like I'm selling you an iPhone. It's tangible. You can touch it. You interact with it every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's smoke, right? Until you need it. It's not tangible. So it's hard for people to get in that mindset of saying, I have to have this. I need this. And especially with the auto insurance laws in Michigan now with the primary injury protection and how that works. I mean, if you hurt someone, someone's calling your, Sam Bernstein's of the world or, knocking on your door, and it's not a good situation. So, our job is to really do an analytical study of your needs based on finances, based on everything, and to say, this is what you need, and this is my opinion. So, I think the biggest misconception is people think it's a scam, and it's not a scam. It's in place to indemnify you, to bring you back to your original state.
Yeah.
And good.
And may I interrupt for a second? And they're certainly happy when
Oh yeah.
Right.
something
and those
goes on. They're calling us.
emergencies-
Yeah.
Tell me I have broad form. Tell me I have
Yeah.
broad. Tell me,
Yeah.
and so they're very.
And they're clients for life. When you walk them through that, they see the value in insurance and having an agent.
Right.
So I think that's the biggest misconception, is that they think it's a scam, so to speak. The other myths out there is, I would tell you, broad form collision, absolutely you should have instead of standard collision. It just waives your deductible whether you're at fault or not. I would find a good agent that has a network, so to speak, collision shops,
Right.
um,
What you need to do.
glass companies, windshield replacements, things like that. That's important to have an agent that's rooted in the community that can steer you towards, or not steer because we can't steer, but advise you.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically that's it, pretty much.
I agree. I think it's important to have people in your sphere that know who to recommend when you need
Sure.
them. Absolutely. What are common things not covered by homeowners insurance that people assume are?
Sure. Well, elective coverage is one of the biggest ones I think I'm a big fan of, is water backup. So it's not for you as the client to ask. It's okay to ask the questions, but it's for us to know what you need, right? And to advise you.
Yeah.
So let's say you have a really nice basement, right? It's finished. You got a bunch of stuff down there. Water backup is an elective coverage. I think everyone should have. In Michigan, most of us have basements, right? It's not a terribly large expense. For $10,000 in water backup, you're probably talking a few $100s a year.
Okay.
But it's the backup of water from your septic system
Okay.
drain and sewer, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like an enjoyable thing to clean.
No, and no, it's not. And the misconception is a lot of people say, well, why do I need flood insurance? Well, it's not flood insurance. Flood insurance is the backup of a major waterway. That's flood insurance. If you're in a floodplain, you buy a policy through FEMA. It's offered through FEMA. It has nothing to do with water backup. Water backup is an entirely separate thing. So let's just say last year, because it happened, we lost power in a lot of areas, right? Because of the storms. So your sub pump is dead because you have no electricity.
Right.
And it's raining.
Water's pouring into your basement. It happened to me.
There you go.
You don't have to go hypothetical.
There you go.
I've done it.
There you go. And water backup is something that I recommend you do probably 20,000 or more, because the first part of the process of getting you back to your original state is getting a mitigation company and getting the water out. Well, they're at least $5,000 to $10,000. Now you've got your personal property, your couches, your clothes.
Soaked in water, the walls of your house, all of that.
Correct. So that's a big coverage. A lot of the carriers are starting to add coverages they no longer, or they didn't used to offer. So mold mitigation, most home policies don't include a whole lot of mold. They don't like dealing with mold.
It's a costly expense.
It
Something
is.
I've also experienced. I don't know why have I had all these bad
You're just so
situations
lucky.
happen to me.
Yes, mold mitigation is a big one. Service line coverage. So let's say you have a septic field in your yard, and you have the pipe connecting from the septic field into the home. That pipe bursts from the yard to the house in the middle of the lawn, no coverage, and it's a huge expense. So now carriers are starting to see that and go, oh, let's offer service line coverage, right? So we're suggesting service line coverage. The other thing that we see, I know it sounds crazy, but at that tornado in White Lake I was referring to earlier, so some siding blew off one of the client's homes. Well, that siding's no longer made, right?
All right.
So they wanted to throw discolored siding on it. I'm like, as an agent, we're not doing that.
Right.
But now they're offering matching service roof and siding coverage.
Okay.
So all those things should be discussed with you as a client, and let you tell us no, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like we're trying to throw the kitchen sink at you. It's just, does this work for you? Is this something that you would want, right? And in most cases, clients listen and they get it. What I don't ever want is a client to call and to say, you know what, James, do I have this coverage? And me to say,
No. And no, I never presented it
I
to you.
never
Yes.
offered it.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
That is the insurance man's worst nightmare. We don't want
Absolutely.
that. So we have a checklist we kind of go through, and we do a needs analysis, and we just kind of discover what you need and what's good for you and suggest everything and let you tell us no. Right? So that's, I think, the biggest things are the service line connection, water backup, the matching roof and siding. And I would suggest to some clients, all of them really, is an umbrella. Are you familiar with what that is?
Go ahead. You can explain to
So
us.
an umbrella is a very inexpensive excess policy that covers your home, your auto, anything you insure. So really, if let's just say you have $500,000 liability limit on your auto, and you hurt someone really bad in a car accident, they're going after you for $1.5 million. Well, you only have $500,000.
Yeah.
Anything on and above that, they're coming after you, so to speak. And what an umbrella does is kick in the extra $1 million of liability coverage.
Got it.
So we're talking, $300-$400 a year, but can extend your limits to, $2-3 million depending on the umbrella you want. So it's really important, especially for high value clients that, assets and things like that. Very inexpensive piece of insurance and good to have.
Why do you think rental insurance is important? Or not why do you? I know it's important. I know when I was a renter, I didn't really find value in it.
Sure.
And now that I'm older and have some common sense, I'm
Sure.
like, why did I live that way?
Sure.
Quite frankly.
Renter's insurance is super cheap. Most policies we buy are $15 a month probably. What a lot of clients don't know, I just had a phone call from a client. Her daughter was going away to Michigan State. She goes, James, should I buy renters for it? And I said, actually, your homeowner's insurance, here's a little tidbit for you, your personal property coverage will extend 10% to your student away at school.
Okay.
So in a sense, it's kind of like renter's insurance, at least her things are covered.
Yes.
Without having to buy a renter's policy. But renters to me is very important. I've had a client, new client, a couple months ago, but actually lost everything in a fire, and she rented the house.
Right.
And I didn't want to give you I told you so,
Mm-hmm.
don't go there. But for $15 a month, I mean, come on guys,
All
it's
your
like,
things could have been
it
replaced.
covers really three
Absolutely.
things. Your liability, if someone slips and falls at your house, wants to sue you. Your personal property, right? Ambulance coverage or, medical expense, that type of thing. So you get a lot for a little, and I think everyone should have it. A lot of apartment complexes, especially now, require it. So you can't even rent from them unless you provide them a certificate. So yeah, renters is a necessary evil. I would tell everyone that they should have it for what it does for you.
You got it. Low cost, it sounds like, and good coverage for your
Absolutely.
personal items.
Yep.
Do you have any tips for new homeowners?
For new homeowners, I would tell you that depending upon your situation, I would keep your deductible relatively in the middle from low to high. And make sure you're making the right decision. Again, I'm a big fan of being, going through an agent, and for the reasons we've discussed today. But, and make sure that you're getting the right tailored fit for your needs. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, it's an expense you're going to have. First-time home buyers, I know when I was first-time home buyer, I didn't have a whole lot of money, but, I made it work. But just make sure that, you're covered well, all the things we talked about, the water backup, the service line, and I would tell you an average homeowner policy, even for a first-time homeowner, ranges between, I'd say, $800 on the low end to, depending upon the size of the home, $1,500. And that's all escrowed. So it's not like you're coughing it all up front, But that's the big thing. Just make sure you're covered. You never know, especially if you're a first-time homeowner and let's say you don't have a bunch of money like myself when I bought my first home. You want to make sure these things are covered so you don't have to come out of, pocket.
Absolutely.
So that would be my advice to them. Just make sure you have everything and it's covered well and that, you don't have to worry about, a rainy day, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I've learned a lot about insurance and some coverages, so I appreciate our time
Yeah,
today.
no,
It's
it's
been
great.
a pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's
I'll
been great.
tell Ginger you said hello and
Please do.
thank you very much and look forward to maybe talking down the road.
Absolutely. Anytime you want to come back by, I'll be happy to have you.
Okay.
What's the best way for the community to get a hold of you guys?
I think the best way is you can reach us online, jbainsurance.com. You can call us at the office, 248-599-9076. Any one of our associates would be happy to assist you. And thank you for your time, guys.
Of course. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day, guys.